Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we'll be going over my Acolyte Necromancer early build guide for hardcore Last Epoch Cycle Season 1. So obviously here is my Acolyte Necromancer, so let's go over the skills I've set up. On Q we have Skeletal Mages, on W we have Bone Curse, E I have Summon Skeletons, R is my Summon my Bone Golem, and my right click, which is my main attack, is Rip Blood. So early on, as an Acolyte, I completely went straight into 8 points for this. That was just to get my damage up, get some resistances up, and overall, just start wrecking stuff. My early on abilities were... Rip Blood, Marrow Shards, Summon Skeletons, and Harvest. Eventually, when I got Bone Curse, I got rid of Marrow Shards and mainly focused on these 4. Eventually, unfortunately, as soon as I got the Golem, I kind of had to sacrifice. Actually, no, I didn't have to sacrifice the Harvest. I kept Golem. I was using Hungering Souls or Wandering Souls for a bit extra damage. This is really good with the Curse because, obviously, if an enemy is cursed, this does double damage, and anything that you curse, the damage is tripled if you inflict the hit yourself. So, obviously... Bone Curse and this, you're wrecking up mobs really quickly, Rip Blood for some safety, and obviously because we're going as a Necromancer, and Necromancers like summoning things, we use Skeletal Mages. So that was very early on. Those were my main ones. I think you get this about level 7, so until you get level 7, you don't really do much damage, but as soon as you get Bone Curse, and this is one of the big things that helps me deal damage, is GG's. Obviously the first specialization I went into was my Skeletons. I went straight down to here, so I went 2 points, 1 point, 1 point. I have used a build where I don't use Dead Phalanx. Dead Phalanx basically makes your summon skeletons bigger, plus 20% size, but it's many more health and do extra damage, but you can only summon half originally. So at the beginning of the game you can summon 3. Obviously going down this route we're able to summon 4, which means we're able to summon 2 afterwards. But then I went this way next, so my mana cost summoning them again was lowered down, and then put a point into there, and then eventually I did a couple of points into this, then focused get a point in here, and then all the remaining points went into here for attack speed, and now I'm basically going more damage. Originally I focused on having these minions have way more health and way more regen, but at the moment they've gone for a more focused build, even doing a bit of ward when they die. More on that later, so we're just going to continue boosting their melee prowess. My first Necromancer build, I actually went into Skeleton Rogues, removing these guys, but Skeleton Warriors are fine. Obviously the next specialization I went into is Bone Curse. Bone Curse is in my opinion, sorry I muted the wrong thing there. Basically, you put down a curse on an enemy and they take more damage from you if you direct hit. Obviously with Harvest, the skill I showed you before, that's great. Even using Rip Blood, it's fine, like that only is 193 damage per second, but thanks to Bone Curse it's tripled. I started off doing a couple of only 2 multipliers into this. Basically, so doing an extra 20, I think it's like, yes, 10 damage, so it's an extra 20% damage, so that's 320% damage extra. Then going into 2 of these, and finally getting this, because I want more minions, so whenever I curse something, there's a chance that a Skeleton Vanguard gets spawned in. It's 10% chance. So basically, if you've cursed something, and while they have the curse, they've died, which they should do, because you're doing a lot more damage, then obviously a Skeleton Vanguard gets spawned in. There is another way of doing it, but because I'm using Bone Curse, that's what I focused on. I also put a point into Defiled Defenses, which is basically Armor Shred. If it gets rid of the enemy's armor, they have less armor. Armor Shred is really annoying if you played this game, because all of a sudden you're taking a lot more damage. Luckily for me, I don't really have too much armor. I use mainly ward, but Armor Shred, also my minions have Armor Shred, so you just getting rid of it, but I quite like Bleed because it's just an extra damage over time, and also now I can Rip Blood, which means whenever I curse the enemy, I might get back some of my health. Just extra defense, and as well Cursed Ground, which means instead of just marking an enemy or enemies, an area of on the ground is now cursed, which means if enemies walk into it, which they might do, happens a lot because there's a lot of ads in this game, they all get cursed. Next up, eventually, once I finished speccing into doing all this, so I went all in on this, and then I mixed those two up until I got to here, and then I put another couple of points into there. Basically, all about my minions are doing extra damage. Originally, I kind of went into this as well, increased damage. Minions did damage, but because I was going for a minion build, I was like, no. And that was a bit more safety, because once you had two hardcore characters die through a random damage out of nowhere because you weren't paying too much attention, you kind of want to increase your health a little bit. But I thought this was a better, rather than having increased damage, I wanted more attack speed, and then I also wanted a bit more poison resistance because there's some areas in this game where you get a lot of poison, and I thought I'd better get some resistance. But once that was all done, I specialized into Necromancer. And honestly, this is where I don't know really where to go. I kind of focused on Risen Army while giving my minions a bit more extra health. Then I decided, you know what? I don't care if they die. If a minion dies, I get 21 ward. As we see in the skills here on my skeletons, I also gave me an extra 10 ward. So I'm not too fussed if they die, which is why on this build I went less with health. So less health, more damage. There is some healing and damage, but originally on my second build I went to this because I didn't use the undead phalanx, which basically cuts your minions in half, but they're bigger. And so this way I could get like, I think it's like, hang on, 1, 2, 3 extra, so I could get 7 minions. I get 7 skeletons, but because I'm using dead phalanx, it rounds it down, or halves it, rounded down. So this was an entirely pointless skill, so instead I focused on doing some extra damage. My skeleton mages, which you can see here, do necrotic damage and fire damage. If we go over to them, I spec them into being Death Knights. That just seemed fine. As you can see, the path I went is down here. Did I point 2 points into that, then a point into that to make them Death Knights, and then went over here so I can get an extra one. And then I focused on these spells before I went into fire. The reason I went into fire, if I can get my inventory, is because +5 fire damage, +3 fire melee damage to minions, which is what my mages, well, Death Knights now do. But they also do necrotic stuff. This guy, when I got the golem, I fully went into going completely burning mad. Originally, when I first played, I kind of made it so he would split, and they were dying way too often and won't really do much damage. So this time I just purely focused on fire because I knew I had the fire bonus from my armor set. I did go into bond kindling, which is consume skeleton skins mages that it hits to deal more damage over time. The issue was I had so many skeletons and stuff that it just cost me way too much money to summon them again, and honestly, it just wasn't worth it. The fire stuff is good enough. He does a load of attacking. He's pretty powerful. He can get like 900 a hit. It confused God King Mew. He was like, oh, I just did 900 damage on one of my bow attacks. And it was kind of like, no, my boy Bone Golem over here just started burning stuff up. So let's go back to, so obviously the plan is I went into minion fire damage. Obviously I've kind of looked at, I get some, if the minion dies, because now they're less tanky, they're more of a glass cannon, I want to get some ward out of it because I kind of don't want to die. Whenever you use a potion, a random minion killing it to restore health. Also, thanks to this and this, even if the minion dies, I drink a potion, I get a bonus ward from them dying. I think I also have some totems that increase my bonus ward as well. So pretty much any minion dies, I get about an extra 100 ward, 200 ward, which is perfect for bosses because you can see them do attack and you're like, I'm not going to be able to dodge this. Potion, I gain a bunch of ward. Also, thanks to my set bonus, as you can see here, 2 set bonuses. Whenever my Bone Golem hits an enemy, there's a 5% chance of getting a potion back, and because he has such a high attack speed, there's a good chance I'm going to get it back. So that's the death marker. I just didn't know if I wanted to use that or not. I might relocate the point, but 10% just does extra damage. Is a curse that lasts for 8 seconds, reduces all resistance by 25%, which is fine because, you know, I'm doing a lot of fire necrotic damage. Obviously, I want to increase the attack speeds because I want my potion refills to trigger more often. So that's good, and also it increases my attack speed and my minions' attack speed, and also my minions' cast speed, because my Death Knights are casting a lot of spells, and so does my Golem. He creates a fiery ground, which is why I went completely into this, because I wanted as much fire damage as possible and much necrotic damage as possible. And finally going into resistances, because, well, resistances are always good. I don't want to die, so that's nice. And obviously I'm going into this bit so I can get some more skeletal mages. So that's pretty much the build. If you want to see the skills again, here they are. If you want to take a screenshot, let me know what you think of this in the comment section, because I've only been playing for like 5 days and this is what I come up with. Obviously this is an early Acolyte Necromancer early game build, not end game. I have seen a few things end game, not too much. I kind of didn't want to get spoiled. I just wanted to kind of go on my own path and work out how to play the Necromancer. This is my equipment so far. These are my totems. They're all over the place. I haven't really got a good selection of totems, but obviously an extra chance for minion death to apply, and also I kind of like having a lot of bonus ward, because ward is always good. So a lot of this is just extra mana, because unfortunately I used to have this skill, which cost 15 mana. It did a lot of damage, but my mana would get drained. So, and honestly, I don't know if I want to replace Rip Blood with Harvest. Obviously, because I know I can do double damage with a curse. It's 200, and that's, at the moment, I think it's like 350% extra damage for anything I hit with. So that's pretty good, but at the moment, I don't know. I'm debating. Also, this wand likes me doing increased fire damage. So obviously, my guys are doing extra fire damage. I'm doing extra fire damage. It's all great, even though it's not really meant for this class. It's mainly for a mage. I literally, it dropped from one of my other characters, and I just went, I'll use it. But I got the set bonuses for here. Obviously, I would like the full set, but I can't find it yet. And also my fire is going to go away. Not too much health, but yeah, as you can see now, there's some gameplay of me just running through stuff. I think I'm at a similar level to the level area I'm in. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's just running through. Make sure you have your minions just in front of you so they can take the force of the hit. Make sure you have some potions. Basically use a potion to get some ward up, because then a skeleton will die and you get ward if a minion dies. And obviously if a skeleton warrior summon skeleton dies, I get even more. Sometimes the golem dies, but if the bone golem dies, I get so much mana. The annoying thing with this build is obviously every time you start the game, you need to summon everything. Slightly annoying. It's not less annoying than some other IRPGs where you need to kill something then summon it, except for a bone golem. But overall, you basically want to curse the enemy and then have your minions attack. Curse the enemy, have the minions attack. You can rip blood to get some health or do some extra damage, but most of the time you're just Wing. Yeah, you're hitting W to win, essentially. All you do is hit W to win. I did fight a kind of a little mini boss or elite boss, and a lot of my minions did die because they are very glass canyon-y. But I managed to summon back, so obviously this build needs a lot of work, but let me know what you think in the comment sections down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.
Morse. Marvelous. Together on the track. Let's go. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus.